Hi guys, welcome to UniVoyage. Today we'll be speaking about logic and reasoning. So, as you all know, there's no logic and reasoning for IIM Indore, but IIM Rohtak and IPMAT still has it. So, these 40 questions can basically be divided into 6 different categories. They are seatings and arrangements, knocks and calendars, distance and directions, blood relations, syllogisms, and data interpretation. Let's look at each one of them. Starting with seatings and arrangements. So, seedings and arrangements are the type of questions which include linear arrangements, circular arrangements, tabular columns, and pairing. So, when I done linear and circular arrangements, you'll be given a set of group of people, and you will have to arrange them accordingly. And you will be asked a sub question, 3 to 4 sub questions, where you will be asked who sits next to whom, who is between these two, or who is at the start, or who is at the end. When we speak about tabular column, you'll be given a tabular column which will be half filled, and you'll be given 6 to 7 sentences which will help you fill the other columns. And then coming to pairing, pairing is basically you have 2 or 3 sets of things and you need to group them together. For example, take a car. They might give the car color red, blue, green. They might give the company of the car, and they might give which person owns the car. So might be red car by so and so company is owned by A. So you need to figure out the sets. So for all these type of questions, you'll be given 6 to 7 sentences and then 3 to 4 sub questions. Ideally, we will take 4 to 5 minutes to solve these questions. Some of you might think, why should I spend 4 to 5 minutes on these? It is okay to spend 4 to 5 minutes because you'll be getting answers for 4 to 5 sub questions. And still, if you're very conscious about it, you can keep it for the end and come back. And to talk about the preparation for these type of questions, they need a lot of practice, I would say, because they are fairly difficult. And then one more important thing is as you read those sentences, you should jot it down in a very shorthand method, like in a pictorial form, because there'll be huge sentences and you'll have to find out a way to note it down very, in a precise manner so that when you're trying to find the answer, you don't get confused. So this is about seatings and arrangements. Moving on to clocks and calendars. These questions are easy compared to seatings and arrangement questions. So basically, in clocks, there'll be 2 types. You'll be given the angle and you have to find the time, or you'll be given the time and you'll have to find the angle. So if you have basic knowledge of how many degrees is equal to 1 minute or how many hours is equal to these many degrees, you can do these questions, but you need practice. And then calendars, you will know, like, or they give you a date and a day, and you'll have to figure out when is the next date or a day. For example, 1922, September 24th was a Thursday. What do you think 1924, September 28th is which day? Or sometimes they might give you the day and you'll have to find out the date. So, as I told before, also, when we compare to seedings and arrangement, these questions are basically easy, but you need some practice for it. Uh, it's not like you can solve it without practice, but yeah, it is easy. Coming to distance and directions. These are the most easiest type of questions. You shouldn't at all leave these questions, I would say. Make it a compulsory point to solve it. And you can usually score marks. Basically, it will be a person starts from this place, moves these many distances in this direction, and then takes a right turn or a left turn or turns anti-clockwise or clockwise, and then he's at this position. So which direction is he from the starting point, and what is the distance of him from the starting point? So as I told, these questions are very easy. If you practice, a little at least, you can solve these questions. So you need not worry about it because these will fetch you marks easily. Now, coming back to blood relations. Blood relations, as you all know, they'll give you a set of questions, set of sentences, and you'll have to find out how is person A related to person B, and all those things. So, basically, in a family tree, there'll be different generations, grandparents. First will be great grandparents, and then grandparents, parents. There's the mother and father, and then the children, siblings, and those stuff. So usually what students do is they try putting themselves in the situation. When I was preparing, I used to do this in the start, but most of them recommended to stop doing this because it is not feasible. When you put yourself in the situation, you start thinking about your actual relatives. You start assigning them. Like, this aunt is this. Okay, what about the other aunt? So it is not feasible. You not think rationally according to the question. So try eliminating that. Don't put yourself in the questions. One easy way to go about it is you can come up with a key of your own. Like you can say, I will represent female by a square, male by a shaded square, married couples by a straight line, brothers and sisters by dotted lines. So when you read the sentences, you can just convert them into those key, and it will be easy for you to figure out. And please know the names of the relations, the niece, nephew, brother-in-law, sister-in-laws, and all those. Apart from that, if you have a fair amount of practice, you can crack these questions. It's not that difficult. Okay. Now moving on to syllogisms. So syllogism is something which has more sub questions. So first part of it is the questions like some apples are trees, some vegetables are fruits, all vegetables are fruits, things like that, and you'll have to figure out. They give you two sentences like that, and they give you four other options, and you'll have to figure out which one is correct. And the second type is cause effect questions. So if this is the cause, which is the effect? If this is the effect, which is the cause? You'll have to figure out that. And then again, the other type of questions is implicit and explicit inference and arguments. Then give you two sentences and you then give you two options. You'll have to figure out which is the implicit assumption, which is the explicit assumption. And in the same way, they can ask you about arguments. So again, they give you a situation and then they give you two sentences. You'll have to figure out which is a strong argument. That is basically which suggests or which strengthens the point of what is given in the context, or weak arguments, which is not very relatable. So all these questions comes under syllogism. So in terms of difficulty, I would say syllogism is not very difficult unless and until you figure out the concept and a way to deal with those. So make sure you solve a number of questions and make sure you figure out what works for you. Now coming on to DI. DI sets are basically the same type of questions which is asked in Indore's data interpretation. So if you're thorough with your quants DI, there's no much preparation needed here. It's the same set. You'll be given a tabular column or a line graph, bar graph, pie chart, and you'll be asked 4 to 5 sub questions on it. So these were pretty much on the types of questions in logic and reasoning. I tried to cover almost all of them. And yeah, so try solving as much as you can. Please don't ignore this telling it is not there in IIM Indore. It is still there in the other two important exams. So as you do your quants, make sure you are also giving enough time for your verbal ability and logic and reasoning. So yeah, with a bit of practice, you guys can solve it. It is not as difficult as quants. And again, it has negative marking, so you'll have to choose which type of questions you'll be targeting first, and then come back to the questions which you think you are not so strong. So you need to find your strong point first, and then you can pretty much do it. So all the best. I hope you guys learned something from this thing, and I hope it helped. Share the video, like and subscribe to the channel, and also check out UniVoyage's website for our new courses. Thank you.